So I'm driving, and I guess I just always think about things when I'm driving, but just something that I've been thinking about cars, and specifically like modding. I've been into Hondas for like a pretty long time. I had an Integra for a long time before my TSX that I currently have, a 6-speed manual. And, a lot of people hook these cars up. A lot of people love the older Hondas and modify. And as they're getting older, it's harder to find good examples of the cars. Especially this is a 6-speed manual TSX. And so it's harder to find them in good condition. And I guess, so here's where I'm going. I see a lot of people with, especially the TSX as it gets older. With Integras a lot too, but it's just the normal cycle of a car. When it gets older, it goes to a younger demographic. Generally people who are lower income, and they get the car because it becomes older and more affordable and do whatever with it. And I see a lot of people that just, and it was the same with my Integra, but everyone just wants to turn it into like a race car, like they just want it to be like fully like tracked out. And that's all cool and well. I had my Integra for 5.5 years. And I lowered it. I learned a lot of what I liked with cars with that car and what I hated with mods. So there's a lot of things I did to that car where I was like, I'm never doing that again with my car. Like cheap exhausts, anything that was just like cheap suspension, having to redo it 2-3 times over because I couldn't afford it. And now I'm of the mindset, if I can't afford it the right way, I'm not doing it at all. But with the TSX, I see a lot of people, they just want to turn it into like a race car. Like I see, like, it's like Mugen Wing, and that's all cool, and like whatever cheap ass coilovers, and like just all these like really loud, catchy mods. And I'm not saying, look, do whatever you want with your car, but I saw another guy's video about the CRX. I can't remember his name, but he was talking about, he picked up a CRX, and it's the same thing. Everyone just wants to turn it into a race car. And he said, I wish people would have a little bit more respect for the car, especially I agree with that mindset now that I'm a little older. But what I mean is, these are becoming more increasingly rare and harder to come by. So instead of taking a clean example, I mean, obviously it's your car, you can do what you want, but instead of hacking it up, and especially like with my because I had a DA Integra, like they were rough, they were few and far between. And I've always been more, after I kind of learned what I liked and didn't like, I've been more of an OEM plus kind of guy in terms of modifications. So I always just try and take some nice parts, off of like a Type R or whatever the nicer version is, and kind of upgrade it like that. So with my TSX, exterior, it's pretty stock. There's a couple little things I want to do, like maybe some Euro R style headlights, the 06. It's just the depot replicas. I'm not going to spend coin on the real deal and then have to swap projectors for a 5% light increase. I see some people do that. To me, it's not really worth it. Oh, the cutoff is like 5% worse than factory. I don't care about that. But little things like that, I might throw some JDM tails if I can get some for a good price. And just change the wheels again. I have TL wheels on the car, but I'm just kind of sick of them. And I'm only going to throw OEM. I'm probably just going to buy a set of refurbed OEM wheels, or maybe some TL Type S's. I haven't decided. Maybe an A-spec lip, and some very, very minor little things here and there. I want to get the Honda reflash, or the little bow reflash, whatever, eventually. But that's about it. If I found a good deal on like an exhaust, sure. but I don't really feel like spending $1,000 because for these cars it doesn't really net that much. It sounds great, but it's like $1,000 for 4 horsepower. Not really worth it, and it's a daily. It's something I drive. So I don't want it to be uncomfortable. I don't want super stiff coils or anything like that that's going to make the car really like ride like shit. So I'm just saying, like, you know, everyone wants to make it into this, you know, a lot of people who are younger, they want to mod their car and hook it up, and they don't really have the money. So you see them going for like the cheap stuff, like whatever lights are on eBay, you know, like little shit like that, because they can't really afford to do stuff, and just like that, and cheap suspension, like the cheap no-name coils, or just the bottom of the barrel stuff. And it's like, you know, it's just, think about, like, it's like a nice car. Like, honestly, like, the OEM parts are better than a lot of that cheap shit that you're putting on. And it's like, just because something's aftermarket, like, I understand you want to stand out, but like, you don't have to change everything on the damn car just because it's stock. You know, like, that's, like, Honda did pretty well with these from the factory. So, you know, just, you really got to have a goal of, like, what, you know, what is your goal with a car? Because I was like that with my Integra at first, where I was, you know, 21 years old, just, oh yeah, I want to throw some parts on my car, and you know, it was just like bad. Like, you know, it's like you'd buy an exhaust, I'd have to go to a muffler shop and pay them money to tweak a bunch of shit, and then a year later I got an exhaust leak, and you know, the thing's all sorts of fucked up, and I'm having to redo it time and time again. As where if I would have just left the damn thing stock and then saved my money, bought a Tanabe medallion, I would have never had to think about it again. So, you know, I'm just saying, like, it's a nice car, and they're getting older and harder to come by. So, like, you know, just rather than throwing cheap shit on your car, like, you know, just kind of think. I think it's a lot to do with being younger, because when you get older, it's like, that shit is embarrassing. Like, if you're, you know, like I like modding my car, but I have a very, like, set style of what I like. OEM plus, nothing over the top or overdone. Just kind of like a few Euro R parts or J-Spec parts with like a couple aftermarket suspension pieces, and that's it. But nowadays, like, some of that shit is embarrassing. If I had to pick like a date up or something, some of the stuff I did with my Integra. So, you know, just have some respect for the car, and do stuff right. Do your research, and like, sometimes you're better off leaving stock, you know, if you can't actually afford to do something, because you're going to end up doing it 2 and 3 times over. So that's just my rant. That's it.